How's it going, guys? Brett Medlock here. Today I wanted to do another video talking about my 10 favorite games on the Nintendo Switch. Now, why am I doing this again so soon? I did it probably 6 months ago, and that's because so many damn games are constantly coming out on Switch, where my list is constantly changing. So I had to take some stuff off, but not only that, but you know, after a while your mind sort of changes. Like, after you play an amazing game, it seems like it's your favorite game of all time, and then after months pass, you sort of realize it wasn't as great as you thought it was. Still amazing, but maybe not as good as you originally thought. So my personal picks, this doesn't reflect the Nintendo Enthusiast site or necessarily any other faces you'll see on the channel, but me specifically. But one more thing before we jump in, I want to make something clear. This list includes ports and remakes that are on the eShop or physically in retail, but it does not include the NES games that are available through the Switch online service. And also keep in mind that I haven't played everything. I have some gaps in my Switch game library. Like, I haven't finished Celeste, so that's not on my list. I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I know I'm crazy, or Octopath Traveler, so sorry those two are absent from my list, but it's just really hard to find the time to dedicate to long JRPGs like that when there's constant new eShop games coming out every week. Here's what I think are the top 10 best games for Nintendo Switch. Let's jump in. Wolfenstein II. Now, this game really surprised me because I actually didn't really like the original Wolfenstein. I jumped in and I couldn't really get into the main character, Billy Blazkowicz. I thought he was kind of annoying and he reminded me too much of Marcus Phoenix, the main character of Gears of War. I'm also not a really big fan of him either. So when I jumped into this, I figured I'm not really gonna like it that much because if I don't like the main character, it's really hard to make it through a story. But this game, you actually get to know him a lot better and you get to see more of his soft side and his history in general. And this game covers a bunch of different topical stuff, like things that happened in history and things that didn't happen but happened in this alternative history, and like racism and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. And on top of all the story stuff, really the gameplay I loved. Just having a bunch of different weapons and customizing and unlocking new stuff was really fun. So Wolfenstein 2 is a fantastic game, highly overlooked in my opinion. So if you're in the market for a great first-person shooter, I definitely suggest checking out Wolfenstein 2 on Nintendo Switch. It actually looks and runs pretty great for being so graphically demanding. Probably one of the best realistic styled graphics that are on Switch, so definitely check it out. What the hell, I just changed t-shirts out of nowhere. No, I'm just kidding. It's the next day because when I originally shot that video, I had Wolfenstein 2 at the number 10 spot, and then I realized, wait, I forgot about Guacamelee. Guacamelee is amazing, and I had to put it on this list. So yes, you're actually getting 11 games on this top 10 list because I couldn't just take Wolfenstein out, but I had to get Guacamelee in. So both Guacamelee games are amazing, but overall I have to give it to Guacamelee 2 because it feels like a beefed up version of the original game. And I don't mean that in any derogatory sense because the original is a masterclass of game design. The sequel offers rock-solid platforming, funny dialogue, and addicting as ever Metroidvania mechanics. It's challenging, rewarding, and full of spunk. I recommend it as a must-play if you're looking for a game to play in co-op, or of course if you love Metroidvania games. Okay, back to the old Brett. Next up on the list has to go to Mario Kart 8. Now, there's not really much to say about Mario Kart 8 because everyone knows that it's just a blast to play. It always gets people laughing and just makes the whole room feel like a fun party. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch really built upon Mario Kart 8 for Wii U. First off, finally giving us a Battle Royale mode, not that Battle Royale, but the Mario Kart Battle Royale mode, which was severely lacking from the Wii U version. And then on top of that, it gave us new characters and the ability to hold two items at once, which I thought was lacking from the original game. So Mario Kart 8 has to go on my list. It's drop dead gorgeous and it's just so damn fun. Now, once again, this one might be a bit controversial, especially if you loved Breath of the Wild. It's my number 8 on the list, and I know you might think I'm crazy. Breath of the Wild's amazing. 10 out of 10. Well, I gotta be honest, guys, I didn't really like a lot of things about it, but in the end, I still really think it's a great game, and it really nails exploration, which I just gotta give it props for that. It's a beautiful world that's just so fun to explore in, and yes, it is lacking the traditional temples and the hookshot, and there's a ton of changes, but you know what? A lot of those changes were really awesome, and I had a blast with Breath of the Wild. I wasn't too sure about it at first, but after I started to understand the mechanics of the game and what it was really trying to do, it really put its hooks into me, and I couldn't put it down. So Breath of the Wild definitely had to be on this list. The next game on the list has to go to The Messenger. This is an 8-bit and 16-bit indie title that released last year, and I reviewed for the channel giving it a 10 out of 10. I think this game is absolutely amazing. It starts off an 8-bit side-scroller, then it turns into a 16-bit Metroidvania game, and then you're swapping back and forth between realities. It's rock-solid platforming, really fun gameplay, plus awesome boss fights, and just really funny writing and humor. So, The Messenger, if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. I'll be sure to add my review at the end of this one so you can hear me elaborate on it a little bit more. Next up on the list goes to a sports game? Well, kinda. It's Rocket League. This game I played on every single platform. I've bought it on literally everything that it's come out on, and I absolutely love Rocket League. And you know, it's actually odd for me to have games like Mario Kart 8 and Rocket League on my list because I'm not a big like sports guy or racing guy, but these two titles in particular, they really do it for me. Like Rocket League, it's such simple mechanics that really go a long way when it comes to gameplay. Throw in a ton of awesome modes with crossplay online, and you get one of the best games that I think is available on Nintendo Switch. I'm sure you've heard about Rocket League. It's really, really popular, and it's available on just about everything. So yeah, I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't yet. The graphics do take a hit on Switch, but ultimately it's not that big of a deal, and it's a lot of fun to play, and that's all that really matters, right? So next up, this one is sort of cheating, but not really, because it goes to The Walking Dead Season 1 and the final season that hasn't been completed yet. I'm sort of lumping them together, but if I had to choose one, it goes to Season 1 of Telltale's The Walking Dead. This game is absolutely amazing. Story, narrative, character building. It has everything that you could ever want out of a video game story. And yes, it kind of runs like garbage because, well, it's Telltale Games. Rest in peace. Their games were never really about graphics, but more about story and characters and just building up this epic finale that really hit me deep in my heart and literally made me cry. So I can't go without putting The Walking Dead on this list. It's absolutely amazing, and unfortunately only the first season and the last season are available on Switch. That's probably how it's gonna stay because, well, Telltale is dead now. But if I had to choose one season out of them all, Season 1 is still by far my favorite. It's just so gripping, so emotional, amazing characters, and awesome storytelling. I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you like old school point and click adventure games. We're getting down to the wire with the top 4 games, one of which is gonna make some people angry, but the next one will probably not, and that is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This game recently released on Switch, and it's absolutely amazing. It's the best Smash Brothers game in my opinion. I always loved Smash 4 more than Melee. I know there's tons of Melee lovers, but Smash 4 I absolutely loved. And well, Smash 5 or Smash Ultimate is pretty much Smash 4 on steroids, and I absolutely adore this game. Seeing all of these iconic characters from all these amazing games fight each other is like the biggest and craziest crossover ever. Yes, Marvel, you heard that right. Smash Bros. Even outdoes Infinity War when it comes to the crossover department, and it's just really awesome. You know, it has better graphics than Smash 4, it has a better online infrastructure, which still needs a lot of work, but it's Nintendo, so what can we do? And it brought back fan favorites like Ice Climbers, Young Link, Snake, and it gave us a bunch of new characters. I didn't really like the single player that much, but that's not really why I play Smash Brothers. I'll be sure once again to link my review at the end of this video for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, my top 3, the next one has to go to Super Mario Odyssey. I love this game. I thought all of the worlds were incredibly well done. They're so fun to explore. It seems like every single corner of this game has a surprise to it and a secret to find. And that's what I loved about Super Mario 64. And honestly, Super Mario Odyssey feels like more of a sequel to Super Mario 64 than it does the games on Wii U and the games on Wii. So I really appreciated that. It seems like this was really a return to form, but done in a spectacular, nuanced way with breathtaking visuals and an amazing musical score. Not to mention some of the best, like, most celebrated set pieces I've ever seen in a Nintendo game. And yeah, I just love this game. There's not really much else I can say about it. Once again, I'll link that review at the end of this video. It's 3 out of 4 tiles now, so I got one more spot to plug a review. But yeah, Super Mario Odyssey, it's a must play on Switch. And you know, I don't want to overhype it. I feel like a lot of people overhype games. They overpromise, and then you go in expecting something amazing. But in my opinion, Mario Odyssey just nails charm, pacing, and platforming exceptionally well. It's a must play. Now, my number 2 spot is Bayonetta 2, which originally released on Wii U. Now, a lot of this list I've been reiterating what I said in my last video, but once again, I played Bayonetta 2 on Wii U, and I didn't really think it was that great. I was like, this isn't really that fun, and I stopped playing pretty early on. But then I got handed the review code for the Switch version, and my god, am I glad that I played that game. It's so fantastic. This was probably the first like very combo heavy action game that I really got into, and I actually really liked the story. I loved the characters. I love the style of the game. It's so stylish, and it really takes advantage of the Switch hardware in different ways. Instead of giving us realistic graphics, it's giving us a ton of stuff on screen with big action set piece moments that just kept me impressed the entire way through. And similar to Mario Odyssey, the pacing of Bayonetta is really the key to its greatness. It keeps going and never stops. It's just non-stop adrenaline fighting, combos, set pieces, crazy bosses and characters just the whole way through, and it's just enthralling, honestly. I think Bayonetta 2 is a must-play game, and I'm so happy that I picked it up again on Nintendo Switch. I almost missed out on what would become one of my favorite games of all time. Now, I've been building to it, and it's finally time to talk about my very favorite game on Nintendo Switch, what I think is the best game on Switch. And the game is actually not out on Switch yet. The game is Resident Evil 4. Come on, I had to future-proof this video a little bit before it goes out of date. Resident Evil 4 is coming out on Nintendo Switch this year, and I could not be more excited. I've bought this game literally on every single piece of hardware that it's released on, except PC, but that don't count. I bought that terrible iPhone game because how much I loved this game. Originally on GameCube is where I fell in love with it, and then I liked it even more on Wii, where we got all the PS2 bonus stuff, and then I replayed it again and again on PS3 and PS4, and it's just an absolutely amazing game. The characters are extremely charming. The third-person perspective added to the series is where everything changed, and I absolutely love this change. I was so sad when Resident Evil 7 was first-person, but I'm glad they're bringing it back around with the RE2 remake. But anyway, Resident Evil 4, the gun progression is so addicting. After you beat this game, you immediately want to jump back in and get those upgrades on every single one of your guns. And on top of that, there's a fun Mercenaries mode that's like a time attack, and then on top of that, there's a Separate Ways mode, and then there's Assignment Ada. This game is packed with content, and it really saddens me that we haven't really got a sequel to this exact game ever. I mean, like, Resident Evil 5 was kind of a sequel to it. Resident Evil Revelations, I think, was even more, like, similar to it. But we haven't gotten a Resident Evil 4-like game since Resident Evil 4, and I don't really understand why. This game is known for being amazing. Like, everyone I've talked to who's played this game absolutely loves it, and I just think it's a must-play game. Like, sure, the graphics don't age very well, but honestly, it still looks pretty decent, and I think when you're playing it on Switch in handheld mode, it's really not going to look too bad. So, Resident Evil 4 is without a doubt my favorite game that's on Nintendo Switch, even though it's not technically on it yet, but it will be soon, and I just think it's a must play. I can keep going on and on about this game, but guys, honestly, play it. It's so good. Like, I cannot stress that enough. I play this game literally every single year. I could probably beat it with my eyes closed, but it's just that damn good. Play it. But that's all I got to say today, guys. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What are your top 10, or if you don't feel like typing all that, what are your top 3 Switch games? That's what I want to know. And hell, you know, give me some criticism. You probably think I'm crazy for putting Breath of the Wild that high on the list. But yeah, let's talk about it. I'll talk to you guys later.